Hi folks, my name is Doug Nestler. Welcome to the first video in my series about the bass. I call this instrument the bass. You may hear it referred to as the double bass, the upright bass, the string bass. It is not a cello, it is the cello's lower pitched and larger cousin. In this video I'm going to give an introduction to the parts of the instrument and the two different bow styles. I'll start at the top. This is the scroll. You may be able to see on my bass that I have an extension which allows the lower string to play even lower. We'll get to that in a few minutes. The scroll is made of maple, and these are the tuning gears. On some instruments there is one plate on either side, and on others there are 4 individual tuning gears. And this is the peg box. There are 4 pegs inside that are attached to each of the tuning mechanisms, and the string goes through a hole in the peg and wraps around, and then you can turn the gears to tune the string. On the other string instruments, there are pegs that do not have gears on them, but on the bass, if you had such pegs, they would be so difficult to turn that somebody wisely, thankfully, devised a gear that would fit on here. This is the neck. These are referred to as the shoulders, and the back and the top. Now the scroll and the neck and the bridge, this part, are made of maple. On many instruments, most instruments, the top is made of a softer wood, usually poplar or spruce, and then the ribs, the upper rib, the C-bouts, and the lower ribs are made of maple, as is the back. This is the fingerboard, which on many instruments is made of ebony. That's true of mine. On some less expensive student instruments, they will put maple fingerboards and color them black. Now on my bridge, as you can see, I have wheels that I can use to make the bridge go up and down. With seasonal changes in temperature and humidity, the wood expands and contracts, and then I can use these wheels to raise or lower the strings in relation to the fingerboard. Not all bridges have these. Some people think that they have a negative effect on the sound quality, but I think that they are more helpful than they are hurtful. So as you can see, below the bridge on my bass, I have a mute that looks like this, and it can clip onto the strings below the bridge. Then here I have what is called the tailpiece, and then the tail gut or tail wire below that. And then at the bottom of the instrument I have the end pin. Now my end pin has a rubber piece on the tip that I can screw off, and that has a very sharp point on the end pin under that that I can take off and stick into a wood floor. You may see on stages where orchestras play that there are lots of holes where the cellos and the basses sit. Many theaters discourage the low strings from doing this because they don't want their floors damaged. Now, I I will put my bass down. When I put the bass down, I roll it down very carefully. I like to put it on the G string side. I roll it down carefully, preferably onto a clean carpet or rug, without scraping the bottom edge along the floor. As you can see on my bass, the edges are pretty scraped up already. That this particular instrument was made supposedly circa 1880 and has had some good upkeep and some not so good upkeep, but I'm trying to avoid making it worse. So I'm going to put my instrument down carefully, rolling it down, not scraping the bottom edge along the floor. Now, there are two different styles of bows for the bass. This is called the German style. As you can see, the frog of the bow, this part, is relatively wide compared to a violin, viola, or cello bow. Again, this part is called the frog. This is the button, or the screw. This entire part from here to here, of course, is called the stick. This is called the wrapping. On some bows, it's leather or various other animal skins. And then there's the silver winding. Now, I recommend against doing this at home, but I will do it here for demonstration purposes. You can unscrew the button to see how the hair, this is real horsehair. Yeah, somebody actually cut off part of a horse's tail so that we can put it on our bows. Now, underneath, or I should say above the frog, is an eyelet. I'll put it up to the camera so you can see it. And inside the stick is a mortise, or a hole that the eyelet goes into, and then you put the button or the screw into the hole, and that's what makes the hair, that's what allows you to make the hair tighter or looser. Now, this is the tip of the bow. Traditionally, they were made of ivory. Now there are many more responsible materials that can be used for the tip. And you can tighten the bow. I like to tighten the bow just enough that when I'm putting the maximum amount of weight into the bow, that at the lowest point on the camber, the curve, the bow, the hair is tight enough that the stick does not hit the string. But preferably not much tighter than that, because otherwise the wood of the bow will lose its curvature, and we need this curvature in order to play. The wood of the bow is Pernambuco. Good bows are made of Pernambuco. That's wood from a tree in northern Brazil. There's a state in northern Brazil called Pernambuco that is named after the tree that is used to make these bows, and it's also used to make pool cues. Now, as I said, this is the German style of bow, or the underhand style. That is what I play. There is also, I have a French style bow that has all of the same basic parts and looks more like a violin bow. The bass can be played well with both styles, and I'm very happy to work with students whichever style of bow they use. Now, the French style bow looks more like a violin bow and is held more like a violin bow with the fingers over the top. And I will get into the details of how to hold the bow in future videos.